Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to my first official video on this channel. I'm Brianna, and I'm here to talk about books with you. This is my first video doing this, and I am opening everything up to accepting questions that you guys want me to answer and what you think would be interesting to know about the different books that we are reading, and I want to know, before we get into this, what are your thoughts and feelings? Tell me down below as we go through this. Tell me, just answer the questions with me, essentially. But first question is, what book did you read? And I'm shaking very badly, as per usual. I'm working on saving up to get an actual camera. I have a tripod that I can't use anyway. That's fine. So, the book that I just finished this morning was Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. And first, I would like to say that this book started off strong, and it stayed strong. A lot of times I'll read a book and it starts off great, and then it slowly declines, and this is not one of those books. Essentially, in the very beginning, it begins with a grandfather telling his grandson all of these vibrant stories about these kids at a home that he went to that had all these strange abilities, and showing him pictures of these kids that are floating, that are invisible, scrawny man lifting a giant boulder. And over time, the grandson starts to not believe that it's real because these stories are so far-fetched. He starts getting made fun of in school for sharing these stories with these kids, and he just stops believing in what his grandfather's saying. Grandfather doesn't fight, doesn't argue with them, and it ends up with the grandson finding his grandfather, or getting a strange call while he's at work, going and finding his grandfather out in the woods, completely disemboweled. And it all just spins from there. And it's a fantastical story. It's so phenomenal. There are pictures included in here, like just old photographs that were found in bins and abandoned at, not thrift shops, yeah, but just, they're so cool. I'm trying to get my book open so I can show you a couple of them. Like, oh my gosh, like these. They're just, it's so cool, and I feel like having those pictures in the book is such a unique aspect, and I 100% support this. I feel like the added element of photographs makes it feel more cinematic, if that makes any sense, and the fact that these were just old pictures that were found is even so much cooler. What I liked most about this book is the feeling that you get that you're actually experiencing this, or you're reading a journal of somebody who actually experienced this, and it's just so cool. My least favorite aspect, I don't really have one. I wish I had more of the grandfather's stories in there. I would like to see a book of just his stories, because I feel like that would be so cool to just read through, even if it was in like a children's book form. That would be really neat. So we as adults could share that experience of those war stories, or not really, well, yeah, war stories too. But those stories would just be phenomenal. My favorite character in this book, I think I'm gonna go with probably the fan favorite, Emma. She is the girl who can make fire in her hands and use it as light and or a weapon. And starting out, I thought I was gonna hate her. I thought she was gonna be this too headstrong of a character, and I thought for sure I was not gonna like her throughout the series or throughout the book, and it turned out she's a really cool character. She's a strong-headed woman. and yeah, it's absolutely fascinating. My least favorite character, of course, are all of the icky nasty boys that are running around in here. I do recommend reading it, so I'm not going to really spoil a whole lot if you haven't read the book, but you need to. But there are icky nasty corrupted men in here that chase after these children to essentially absorb them in some way. They're hungry all the time, and it's just, I hate them. They're fantastic bad guys, essentially. Fantastic. I love the idea of these peculiar children and then people hunting them. And would you want to visit this world in real life? Maybe not exactly Miss Peregrine's home, but there's so much potential for other... My arm is falling asleep. There's so much potential for the idea of other places that you can go, and I feel like it'd be really cool to travel back in time in that way, where time is essentially frozen, and experience life through other people's experiences. Instead of like just reading it in a history book, it'd be so cool to experience it. What songs does this book remind me of? A lot of it just feels like, especially at the beginning, it feels like it would just be like background ambient noise. So maybe classical or just house music. Maybe not house music, but like classical instrumental type music. And then getting into it. In my head, soundtracks are usually 100% classical music. I don't know the names of any of the music, and it's just a classical symphony that goes through my head. Starting out, it's rather quiet, relaxed. The farther in you go, the more intense it gets, and then there'll be down, dips, ups, downs. And then the very end, loudest sounds, and then very calming classical music at the very end. And that's just, when I'm reading, that's how my brain makes the movie in my head, essentially. Because when you read, if you're like me, I don't know if other people do this, I'm sure they do, but when you're reading it, you're envisioning everything that's happening in your head with a musical soundtrack, like you're watching a movie. Only it's all in your head. The characters are what you think they look like in your head. I have seen the movie. One of the questions is, who would you cast? And I don't know. I don't know actors' names. I read books. I do watch movies, but I did see the movie, and I enjoyed the movie before I read the book. And it's still a good movie. I'm not gonna rip on the movie, but the book is so much better. Everyone who reads books, for the most part, like, the book's always so much better. Harry Potter, book's better. Twilight, book is somehow better. But just in the sake of time, I'm going to ask you guys to answer the same questions that I answered. Do you also think of, or whenever you're reading a book, do you also basically make it a movie in your brain? What are your favorite parts? What's your favorite character? What do you want me to talk about next time? What questions do you have? Did you read this book? And you can answer everything in the comments below. I always read the comments, which is a terrible strategy. And yeah, all right. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. I promise things will get better. I need to get a camera. I already have a tripod, and it's gonna get better. But for now, this is what we're stuck with. So I hope you bear with me, and I hope you enjoyed, or will continue to enjoy, these videos. Thank you so much for watching. I enjoy your presence and your company and your comments. And I'll figure out... Oh, follow my Twitter. I talk about things on Twitter if you're interested in that. I'll leave a link down below for that. But, okay, I'm gonna stop rambling now. Thank you for watching.